Good afternoon, traders. It is Thursday, January 22nd, 2015, and the U.S. stock market is closed. And looking at a chart of the Dow Jones Industrial Average here, and you can see, we have had a fantastic sweep from what appears to be a bull spike, and then we've had 4 consecutive up days in the Dow, climaxing. Well, maybe it's not a climax, but it was a big move today, driving the Dow up a total of a whopping 260 points. Now, you might think that since we're only trading long, that during this 4-day sweep, we'd be making a lot of money. And we did not. In fact, we lost money. And I am just totally perplexed this afternoon as to figuring out what is going on. And since I haven't figured it out, I'm not going to pretend to tell you what's going on, except we're not doing well. And what happened today, we had, well, I suppose things could have been worse today. We had, negative $16,000 in open trade equity yesterday. We had 13 positions on with negative $16,000, and even with the negative $13,000 coming into a day when the Dow goes up 260 points, you'd think we'd really, clear that up pretty nicely. Well, we did a little bit better. We closed out about $13,000 negative, so we went from $16,000 negative to $13,000 negative, but one has a feeling we should have done better than that, and we did not. Still, I said yesterday, we could have just had a disaster with those kinds of holdings and then had the Dow dump today. Yeah, we could have done a lot worse, but still, it's a $13,000 negative loss. What's disturbing to me more than that, even though it's not a big financial negative, is that we have 13 new positions today, and we're holding negative $1,300 on those 13 positions. Now, you look at this Dow pattern here today. We had a somewhat higher opening. It actually went up to about 80 points just within a minute or two of the open, and then it shot down, went about negative 80, I think, and then just really shot up from there. That's normally a pretty good pattern for us to trade, and the fact is that we bought 13 positions today and still close out a negative is disturbing to me. I mean, it's just like, yeah, what's going on here exactly? I don't know. I really don't know, but we did not do very well. I am going to show you my personal trail of tears here, and I'm going to show you three stocks which kind of mirrored the problems that we were having. This first one is in BlackBerry, and we had a gap opening in BlackBerry this morning, and we buy the gaps, and it just kept going and looked real good. I took a screenshot around here and put it up on the website. You can see that it did pull back, but then it shot up again and took out the highs. At this point, the way I'm used to looking at charts and everything, this thing really has confirmed up here that it's going up. And when we were up here, BlackBerry had over $3,000 in open trade equity for us. So that looks fantastic. And then within the last 90 minutes, it gives it all back. Every penny of it. We end up closing out, or not closing out, but when BlackBerry closes, we're holding a small open trade equity negative on BlackBerry. So, we've dropped $3,000 on this slide the last 90 minutes. And of course the Dow isn't doing that. But this has been really tough, and BlackBerry has been kind of a hair shirt market for us for quite a while, but particularly recently. You remember this trade just a few days ago. We had gotten into BlackBerry toward the end of the day. It shot up. We were up over $6,000 up here. We ended up getting out with about $1,000. So basically, it kind of did the same thing to us today as it did back there, but it just wasn't quite as extreme. Anyway, BlackBerry is not on my list of stocks that I love right now. I'll show you another one. This is in Cirrus Logic, and this was a real hair shirt for us today. We had bought this thing yesterday, ended up getting in almost at the high tick of the day, and then this morning immediately it spikes down and stops us out here on the low tick of the day. So basically, buy the high tick yesterday, sell the low tick today. That was about a $2,000 loss there. We can handle that, I guess. But then, of course, this stock rallies all day, and actually where it closed almost on its high, we're almost break even there, or would have been break even had we not been stopped out. And of course, I've done enough trading to know this stuff happens all the time, but it's just like we seem to be getting into a pattern here where nothing's working out very well for us, and this is happening while the overall market seems to be doing pretty good. And finally, I'll show you, yesterday we had the worst trade we had was, let me see, my memory fails me here. Supercom. Yeah, we got into that horrible trade in Supercom, and today we got out of it with $5,000 loss. I mean, just, and that really was like rubbing salt into the wounds. Now I'll show you another one here today. We would have at least had a little bit positive today if we hadn't had this trade. But this is in Walter Energy, and Walter Energy kind of replaced Supercom for us today. It had this huge spike up, probably some news there. I don't know what the news was. We buy almost the high tick of the day again, and then it immediately retreats down here. So we're holding a negative $4,000 in Walter Energy. And again, just like Supercom, these kinds of trades usually don't get better. We'll find out tomorrow, but I'm not holding a candle for Walter Energy right now. So because of this one spoiler stock for us, we have a negative open trade equity going into tomorrow on a day the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 260 points. Anyway, very disappointing day. I'm frustrated. I'm disappointed. I will remind you, however, that we're still quite positive for for the month of January, and that's just the way systems trading goes. That's why most people cannot do this. But anyway, I sure hope things start turning up for us pretty soon. This is Trader Bob signing off. I'll see you all tomorrow on Friday.